This vehicle was out in the high country for 4 nights a few days ago. I got home, all I've done is filled it up, given it a quick wash, but it's still mostly packed. This is my wife's car during the week. It picks up the kids from kinder. When I get back from camping, everything comes out, and the next time I go, everything goes back in, and you'll see it's basically a bare shell once everything's out. I don't even take out the kids' seats. I'm going to share how I use the available space inside the vehicle to live out of the vehicle when I'm camping without much modification to the interior. I'm going to throw stuff out of the car as I'm going and talk through what I bring along and how I use the space to do it. Just to clarify, you've seen me pack this vehicle for family trips, but here I'm talking about what I do when it's just me. The ideas apply with more passengers, so just adapt the advice to your situation. I've recently put the cargo barrier in, and the reason I did that was really to protect the kids when the car's fully loaded. I sort of accept the risk that I've still got stuff in the back here when I'm full driving. Best place to keep things that are heavy is down low between the wheel arches. So in terms of balancing out the vehicle to make it the center of gravity the best it can be for doing rough full driving, I really need to pack the car like this. Just pull this out to make room. So this is my clothes bag. I got this seat organizer. This one's from Australian Outback suppliers. What I find most challenging with camping out of a wagon is you need like an admin panel, easily accessible things. That's why I bought this thing. It's got small pockets at the top, then some medium pockets, then some large pockets at the bottom, and then it's actually got like a thin pocket behind each of those as well. So I can fit heaps of stuff in there. So on this top layer I've got torches, lighter, multi-tool. I've got knife and fork here, painkillers, stuff I use often, hydrolyte. I use that a lot when I'm driving and camping. Paper towel, baby wipes, toothbrush, toothpaste, that sort of stuff. So stuff that you use all the time and you don't want tucked away. You just want to be able to go, yep, I need to do that thing. Well, I've got it, there it is. So Pete's going to love pulling all that stuff out. So that's definitely going to be taken out and put back in every camping trip, because this is Heath's seat. So that's how I use that. I think that's the biggest challenge, and if you can work out how to overcome getting those little admin tasks done with an admin panel like this, then you're going to be far better off in your wagon setup. Hammer and pegs for the swag. Bit more camera stuff. This is for my action cameras, my GoPro stuff. And I was talking about having heavy stuff down low in the middle. This is my compressor. So that's pretty heavy. I wouldn't want that thing bouncing around if I roll the car, but hopefully having the clothes bag on top kind of will absorb some of the blow before this hits me. So compressors in there. Water storage. So I don't have any water tanks on board, and the largest water storage device I have is 6 litres, which are these things. I've got 3 bladders like this made by Cedar Summit, and these are excellent. So I've come to prefer having more small water storage around the car, evenly spreading the weight, than having one big 20 litre somewhere in the car. And this is easier on your back. You're not struggling while you're camping, you're not risking injury carting around heavy stuff. These are really good. And they've got a baffle in them so they don't slop around when you're driving. I've got 2 6 litres and 1 4 litre. So the 6 litres go under the seats and distributing that weight nicely, and the 4 litre goes somewhere else. And I usually carry another water container. I'll show you on the other side. Yeah, so here's the full one under the seat. So yeah, once they get empty, I just stash them anywhere. So my tripod's in there for my camera. It sits across. Generally use it at least a few times for filming. And in the center, directly behind the center console, first aid kit. So accessible to any passenger in the vehicle, I think is important. And I've also got a grab bag or survival kit. So if the car catches fire or the car's about to sink, this is the thing I'll reach for, because that and the PLB. So it's all well and good having a PLB, but if you've got no shelter, no food, no way to keep yourself alive, no means to make a fire, you're probably going to struggle. So I'll probably make a whole video on this. I'm not a survival prepper. I don't subscribe to that, but I do think that everyone can be well prepared. Between the two baby seats on the inside, carry a backpack that's empty. I can put my water bladders in there if we go on a walk. It's more or less for emergencies. I might need a backpack. I enjoy fall driving, but before that I enjoyed hiking and just the general outdoors. So if I feel like going for a walk, it might pay to bring the PLB, bring some water, bring some snacks, bring a jacket before I venture off. This kit is my Jetboil. I've got a Jetboil Sumo in here, gas bottle for that, and Jetboil fry pan. So if the fire's not cranking or we're not having a fire for whatever reason and I still want to cook, I've got that option to me, and it's really fast boiling water as well. So yeah, that's more or less my kitchen, excluding my campfire kitchen in the back. Camp oven. So yeah, best way to store a camp oven is in a canvas bag like this blacksmith bag. You could use tea towels, or you can get these star-shaped pot protectors. What this does is stops things bouncing around inside. So I've got my trivet in there, I've got my mixing bowl in there, inside the camp oven, and nothing moves around. I need to give that a good clean. And stashed away nice and safely, another bit of recovery gear, jump starter. This is the JS80 from OTWD. If I ever need it, I'll be glad I have it. I think it's a good investment if you're on the road a lot, especially if you're solo. The one thing I can guarantee about all this is that it's going to change and evolve. I daydream about this when I'm meant to be doing other stuff, and I enjoy the experimenting. It's part of the fun for me. There's no such thing as an ultimate four-wheel drive or camping setup. So when I'm by myself, my main camera is on the passenger seat, so I can grab it at any time. I've got a Pelican case, and I just have it open and I strap it around the seat because I've had it fly forward and hit the dash a number of times. So it probably took a few too many times for me to figure out that I should strap it to the seat. So I do that now. Behind the case, I've got my paper maps. So I usually just carry all the ones I've got. So I'm often in Victorian high country, so I make sure I've got those with me. I have the one that I'm using out, and then have the rest just stashed away, so they're nice and safe. And pictures from your 4-year-old, so that you don't forget them. It's another handy thing to have. Down the bottom here, I'm gonna start throwing stuff out. Camera widgets. This is a bag of driving snacks, so just keep all my driving snacks contained as a kind of separate entity to all my other food. And then I've got 2 bags, which are essentially my recovery gear and tyre change kit. So 1 and 2. I'm an advocate for having your recovery gear accessible from the driver seat. So if your car's in a precarious position and you can't access the boot, you've got a cargo barrier, how are you going to get to your recovery gear? So if I had a passenger, they'd go on the seats behind the driver and passenger. It adds, and what I like about it is that those 2 drifter bags are pretty heavy when all the gear's in there, and it just counterbalances the weight from having me on that side of the car, and then you've got this kind of nice down low weight between the wheel arches on this side of the car. Under the passenger seat here, I've got my fire extinguisher on the Cap Industries extinguisher bracket. It's not ideal having a lot of stuff around it, but I know exactly what's there. I was able to say, this is here, this is here, this is there. So in the event of a fire, I reckon 2-3 seconds, I could shove everything out of there and access it. So yeah, not ideal, but I really want to use this space for other stuff as well. Down here in the door storage, just got microfiber cloths, some dry bags, a shopping bag in case I stop at a supermarket on the way or something, and this thing here. Dad got me onto these. This is a rubber spatula. This is for chiseling ice off your windscreen of a morning. Alright, got a big pile on the ground here. Let's head over the other side. On this side, I usually keep my non-perishable dry stores close to this door. So anything that doesn't go in the fridge generally goes in here. I can make a video about all the food I carry and the way I store it and everything, but yeah, I generally keep my non-perishables all in one spot. Charcoal, you know, it's reasonably heavy, reasonably bulky, but you can kind of manipulate it in. Usually just stuff that down behind the seat there. As well as the bladders, I carry one jerry can usually like this. This is made by Ridge Monkey, it's 5 litres. I've got an attachment in the center console for this to be a tap. So if I want to sit it up like that, I can go and fill up stuff. So it sits nicely on the bull bar for that. So often I'll pull up at camp, chuck it on the bull bar, and then I've got water on tap while I'm there. In here I've got gloves. More gloves, can't have too many gloves. What else? Oh, I usually carry spares in the back, but this was a bit of an emergency. I'm leaking some power steering fluid from the steering rack seals. So it hasn't caused a big issue yet, but I thought I'd take that on the last trip I did. Carry painkillers and stuff in the seat organizer on the other side, but I do have a more extensive rolling pharmacy here. So pharmacy on wheels, you could say. So yeah, I'm just well prepared. This stays in the car, so the kit with my wife and the kids, like my wife knows it's there, band-aids, you know, cough medicine, all that stuff, antiseptic, just it's good to have, right? So yeah, that comes along in the car everywhere. Up the front in the driver's seat, nothing too elaborate. I've got a dash organizer made by Blacksmith, Australian made. It's really good. Bits and pieces like sunglasses, things like that go in there. If you're going up steep hills, doing the rough stuff can fall out of it. So I've in the past have used microfiber towels to stuff things in there just to make sure that nothing moves. But in general, it's a really handy space to use stuff. I use the center drink holders for one drink, my Yeti cup, which I really like, and I usually put my handheld radio in there so I can grab that if I'm getting out of the car, spotting someone or whatever, and also have this on scan, especially if I'm on the lead vehicle. So I have the main one, the main GME XRS that I've got with the antenna on the roof. That's for my convoy chit chatter, and I have this one on scan for safety. I use the center console itself for my winch stuff, my PLB, and my tire inflation deflation stuff and tire gauge, that sort of thing. I replaced the stock head unit and I've got a wireless Apple CarPlay head unit. So I usually have Apple Maps up on that, and then I have my phone sitting up here and I can have something else on my phone screen. So I've got Hammer Maps running at the top and Apple Maps running at the bottom, and that's a really nice combination. Down in this little well, down in front of the gears, there's a little plastic box that I've velcroed down, stuck down, and that's just another little space where things aren't going to fall out. So I often put my phone there, or just having extra space that's easily accessible and isn't going to roll around and fall off. I've just put on these one stone armrests, and it's really comfortable for extended drives where you want to move your arm in different positions, and having another cup holder is great. The idea is choose lightweight gear within reason and pack the heavy stuff down low. Sleep on the ground next to your vehicle with a comfort level you're happy with. This is real camping to me. What's happening in the boot here behind the cargo barrier? Essentially, I've got a 28 litre fridge, a Dometic or Waco 28 litre fridge strapped down. We've got a 65 litre one we use for family camping trips, but for up to about 5 days for 2 to 3 people, I reckon 28 litres is enough. We've got that, and I've also got to power that the iTech World 1300p portable lithium battery lithium power station. So that's also tied down. So I power the fridge off it, and I power all my camera gear off it, and everything that I can be rechargeable. I've converted off batteries that I have to change. it's still overkill. So if I'm driving every day, that thing will never get below about 70% battery. But if we stop for a few days with the family stuff, doing family stuff, then it'll draw down quickly with the bigger fridge. I've got a solar panel to support that, but that's for other videos. But basically, yeah, battery, fridge, and the way that I use the space is canvas bags get packed in around it. This is my favorite bit of camping gear I own, my Drifter milk crate bag. There's a milk crate in there with my campfire stuff, some other camping stuff, a tarp, a bucket, what else? Silky saw, a little hatchet. Apart from the little coffee table here, that's the only table I carry, because this has it's got a plywood carpeted lid, so it's a step, it's a seat, it's a storage box, it's a footrest around the fire, all of the above. So I'm all about things that have more than one purpose. Alright, the other big stuff here, this is usually a bit more full. In here is my sleeping system. I've got a Drifter half hexa tarp in there with all the poles I need. I've got a Drifter Stockton ground tarp, a canvas tarp, and also my swag. That all goes in this one small equipment bag from Drifter. So the other stuff's airing out the back. I couldn't leave it in the car any longer, it might go mouldy. The reason the swags I use fit in there is because I use a self-inflating mat rather than the foam mats that come with the swags. So this is a Empire single monster mat, so that's in the back as well. In this bag I've got my fire pit kit, so the fire pit I'm taking as well as the Osprey usually goes in here. I have in the past put the fire pit in the spare wheel bag, but I like having the weight in the car in that position rather than hanging off the door. So this is relatively, there's a bit of weight in it, and yeah, it slots in there nicely. So yeah, that's how I like to bring it along. That's how I do most of my cooking when I'm out camping, on the Osprey, on charcoal if the fire's not cranking enough. So yeah, that's definitely coming with me. Up she goes. In here is my other sleeping stuff. I managed to fit in this bag a queen size doona, full size doona, a sleeping bag and my pillow and a sheet and my pajamas. So that all goes in there. So once I've set up everything with this bag comes out, it gets put into the swag. So
very working class family.
Should mention, I like to use these EVA foam tiles as a floor of the swag. This makes a big difference and stops the cold coming through the floor and creates a good insulative layer. $11 at Bunnings. This is the camp kitchen that I built. So not everyone needs one of these, you know. I kind of liken it to people that carry a kayak when they go camping or something like that. If you like kayaking, you take a kayak. If you like campfire cooking, this is what I bring. So yeah, not saying that everyone needs one of these. It takes up a bit of room, it's a bit heavy, but it's a lot of fun, so it comes with me. On the side here, this is where I put all my little stuff. So I basically just wedge stuff down the side of the fridge once it's tied down, making sure there's a bit of ventilation for stuff. Coffee kit, that comes out every morning. I've got a bag for storing extra cans. So with 28 litre fridge, if you've got a lot of food, you don't have much room for drinks, you've got to rotate them. So this is actually my gym bag when I go running at work, when I'm not camping, but it gets used for holding extra cans. My chair, Helinox chair, super light, yeah, that goes in there. So I don't carry a big chair, just this thing. This one's just a bit of tinder, bit of firewood to start the fire off, some fire lighters. So in the morning, if I'm the first one out of the swag and I look around and no one's up yet, you know, rather than struggling to relight the fire, I'll just go here and grab some tinder and bits and pieces to light it. So these bags are good too. Sometimes we've been driving in the afternoon, you go, oh, our campsite might not have much wood, we need to get some wood. This can hold a fair bit of firewood cut up, and it won't damage the interior of your car. So it's a good handy bag to have. I think they call these the Drifter Universal bags or firewood bags. Poles for the swag. This is the most important thing to take camping, your toilet bag. So I've got a video in mind. The title's going to be being number one at doing number twos. So you got that to look forward to. But seriously though, there's a lot of waste and disgusting things you see in some really beautiful places, you know, humans doing the wrong thing. So yeah, I've got a message to show there. But yeah, I've only got 2 bags that are orange. My emergency grab bag, and along the same theme, if I need to relieve myself in a hurry. And to go with it, and for 4-wheel-drive recovery, I've got a shovel. So I used to have a smaller camping shovel, a little one from Super Cheap Auto. Got this one for Christmas a few years ago. It's actually got an extension piece in the middle, so it screws apart into 3 pieces, but I just carry it around like this. Box of spares up there at the back against the cargo barrier, amongst some other stuff, fuel filter, air filter, engine oil, what else have I got? Belts. So yeah, on our big trip we did a few years ago, I had it in soft bags rolling around, and it didn't work because we needed the fuel filter, and we pulled it out and we'd punctured it basically. So yeah, recommend keeping your spares in a really secure position where it can't rub on stuff or get pierced by things. Various tie downs in this one. Find having a billy is really hard to store, so I've got a little nook for it up the back. So I've just got my billy in there. Got a little plate. I'm going to replace this with a bigger one. This is for getting a bit of extra height when jacking up and providing a flat, more secure base plate. Tools. I'll get a tool roll soon. Not particularly well organised with my tools. Last bit of recovery gear, and last thing in there really is jumper leads. So if there's another vehicle, I'll just grab the jumper leads, but the jump starter that we looked at before is for special emergencies. I keep all my electrical cables in this little bag. I think it's a toiletry bag. I used to have all my cooking herbs in there, so it smells a bit funny. So yeah, as I need things, I take them out of here. I face the power station towards the side for 3 or 4 reasons. We'll see how I go as I list them. One, it stops things from knocking the ports while you're driving, and you know, I'd have to have quite a bit of length here to run the SIG plug to the fridge, so the SIG plug comes out a fair bit, so it's sort of wasting that precious space there. Secondly, from the weather, it's more protected, so when we pull up at camp, I don't mind leaving the tailgate open. But if it was sort of, you know, sideways wind and water coming in, then it wouldn't be good to have all your ports exposed here. It's less enticing for thieves, I guess. Like, it's harder for them to see what's going on in there if it's all kind of hidden facing that way. Yeah, so that's why I face it that way, and it's just a more practical use of space because, you know, that's kind of prime real estate at the front there. If I was to just strap it down going that way, you're wasting a lot of space in the car. So having it go that way means everything can slot in alongside it much easier. I've just got a single Anderson plug here going to the front, the cranking battery with a smart isolator. So it's a super simple setup. If this thing dies, then I'll just get another one similar to this. So yeah, nothing's really super hardwired in. There's no elaborate 12-volt setup. It's just using a power station and a small fridge. So behind the cargo barrier there, you can see my yellow jacket. I've bought this roof cargo net, which is from Boab, and it goes across. So I've used the handles in the second row seats to secure that on, and that's pretty much reserved for clothes, jackets and soft stuff. Be handy when we're traveling with the kids. You know, it's a bit hypocritical putting in a cargo barrier and then putting something like that in at head height. So if something happens and I've got to brake quick or it hits something, anything that's going to come flying forward, you want to be just soft clothes and stuff. So yeah, just making this whole storage more practical. And when we're touring with the kids and we've got hats and jackets and lots of cargo, I think that'll be a really useful place. So yeah, still got to work out exactly how I'm using it. I think I'll cable tie it to the cargo barrier on this side, so you won't have all that, the jackets falling down the back of the seats there. And my hat's bloody gone for 6 down the back of the seat. On the roof for these sorts of trips, all I've got's my antenna up there and my max tracks in a bag. So that's the final bit of recovery, I swear. So 2 recovery gear bags, the jumper cables, the jump starter, the shovel, and the max tracks. So yeah, the max tracks are up there. They're awkward, they're rarely used, and there's not too much weight on the roof. So I've got a philosophy that you really want as much weight as you can, as low as you can, between the 2 wheels. So I avoid putting stuff on the roof if I'm forward driving as much as I possibly can, and I put heavy things like water, the compressor, heavy tools as low as I can, as close to the wheels as I can. That's how I go about it. If you can conquer the challenge of sorting out your basic admin, so like I said, just being able to go, yep, I know where that is, walk up to it, zip, 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 grab it and be out. That's the ticket. So that's all that an elaborate rear setup is going to achieve for you is that convenience. But through trial and error, you can definitely achieve it with a wagon as well. So if you said to me, go pull out that thing in the boot, you can see all these canvas bags, I'd be able to just go, yep, no problem, and I'll reach in, I'll open the right bag, grab it out, and I'll be on my way. So yeah, it looks like there's a lot going on, and yeah, like I said, it's the canvas bag shuffle, but it really can work